My name is Keisha. If you have found this channel, it means that you were meant to be here. This is not my first time on YouTube. I started YouTube late 2019, going into 2020. I started out doing motivational topics. I was learning about manifestation and vision boards and asking God for more, and I was learning all this new information, and I thought I wanted to share, so I was doing that and I liked it for a while. I was also doing a YouTube cooking channel where it wasn't because I love to eat anyhow. It was because, sometimes not a lot of people grow up knowing how to cook, Jamaican food or certain kind of cuisine. And with me thinking or knowing that, I'm good at like putting stuff together, I thought that I could share my experience. And I was doing that for a while, but it involved a lot of work and I was not cut out for that kind of work. So I quickly jumped back into the, to the YouTube motivational and whatever, and it was going good until I decided it was moving a little slow and I wanted to move faster, I guess. Anyhow, I started doing like prank videos and mukbangs and stuff like that, and it was okay for a while until I checked myself after a while of doing, the prank videos and stuff. It was funny for a while, but that wasn't who I was. That's not who I am. Like, I was like, I got a rude awakening. Like, I was like, Keisha, why are you, letting people in your personal business, in your life, showing them the way you're living? That's not who you are. And with that, I stepped back. I deleted everything. And I was just here living my regular day-to-day life like anybody else. But it was like late 2023, I had my first spiritual awakening. And with that, I started to view life in so much different ways. I realized that I had learned so much things from my culture, from my government, from my schooling, from my church, religion, everything, that all these things that I had learned was not right. They were not correct. They were brainwashed. They were stuff that I have to unlearn now to get on with my day-to-day life. And with that, I think I have a lot of insight and a lot of things that I can share. And as I am growing and learning stuff, I think this should be a safe space that I could come and just relate or just share my experience, or just learn from even the people who are going to be watching. But I don't know, but I'm just here to share what I know. And before, I used to be a believer in a lot of things. Now I do not work with belief system anymore. I have to know. So I'm a person who is trying to learn about truth. I want to know what's real for me and what's accepted, and not what is accepted to society, because what is accepted to society is not always what is right for us. And with the brainwash system that we were accustomed to, we are living our lives in a lot of ways that are not right and it's not true, and we don't have a grasp understanding of who we are, where we're from, and why we are here. These are questions that we never seem to ask because no one told us that we could ask these questions. And when I started asking these questions, let me tell you, my whole life has changed dramatically, because I was questioning the Bible, I was questioning a lot of things, and I've been doing these things since I was a kid. Let me tell you, from an early age, I had decided that I was going to go to hell. Not to say hell, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. I was having a conversation with a bigger cousin. I kind of am trying to remember who exactly it was. But they were trying to explain to me about death and life and hell and heaven. And I had decided at about age 10 that I would just die and call it a day. But she told me, no, that's not how it works. You would die, you would go to hell, you'll burn in eternal fire, and you won't have water to quench your thirst. And with that, I was very traumatized, and I decided that day that I was gonna become a Christian. And there's nothing wrong with becoming a Christian, but I think that's just the beginning of knowing who God is. And it's a starting point, but I don't think that's the ending. And that is why when she explained that to me, I wanted to become a Christian then. And ever since, I've always made up my mind that I'm going to go to church, I'm going to get in church, and, you know, I'm going to live my life for God, because they said that, you know, you have to do it when you're strong and healthy. And I don't want to go to him when I'm weak, and then I end up in hell anyway. So with that, I was in a rush, but it was like I didn't have the consistency, just like maybe with the YouTube, to like go to church every day and just sit there and listen to someone tell me what I'm supposed to believe. So I think before I got my first spiritual awakening, I was in the process of, I bought clothes to go to church, and after that I got my, you know, first spiritual awakening. And with that, I was satisfied to know that I didn't have to go to church anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I think when you become a spiritual person and you start communicating with God more, and your spirit guides and angels and the universe itself, you know, it's like you have a more sense of understanding as to how God wanted you to live, and not how man perceived that God wanted you to live. And with that, I think I have a lot to share. So if you're interested in that, you could stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Bye now.